Welcome back to my podcast. This is the Come Roll With Me podcast. I'm Sagar and I'm a white belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu in New York City. And today we're going to talk about something that I find extremely frustrating in Jiu Jitsu, which is going up against opponents that are much larger than you. Now, the other day I was rolling, and don't get me wrong, I do enjoy going up against people that are bigger than me, but at times when they're able to get a dominant position on you, it feels like there's absolutely nothing you can do. I feel completely out of energy, and I feel they're crushing weight. With their crushing weight, there's nothing you can do. So now I'm going to look up an article and give some tips about possibly what you can do. But don't take my word for it. Do your own research and let me know if you can relate to what I'm talking about. Have you ever had somebody who's just like so much bigger than you just like sit on top of you, and you're like, what can I even do? I can't do anything. I feel like I'm just laying here, and all the techniques and skills I've learned have kind of just gone out the window. So yeah, I'm gonna look up an article and we can discuss a little bit about what you can do when this situation arises for you. Okay, so the article I'm pulling up is from bjjworld.com, and the article is titled Seven Strategies to Defeat Bigger Opponents in BJJ. Okay, so according to the article, the first tip is to stay dynamic. So it says the first thing you need to do when facing bigger opponents in BJJ is to keep moving. If you stop while the opponent is on top, you're most likely to get stuck. The only time you can stop is when you have a system of levers and frames already in place. If you stop when your opponent wants you to, you're going to be forced to carry all their weight. This is effectively going to kill your game before you even have an opportunity to set it up. So stay active until you have everything ready to attack. Yes, I could definitely relate to this. I think that's why I had that helpless feeling of, you know, there's nothing I can do, because I gave up my momentum. I stopped moving against bigger opponents. So when I stop moving, they can use their weight and leverage against me. So my instructor told me to always practice your framing. So practice framing and using your legs to keep distance between you and your larger opponent. So, like this article just said, the only time you can stop is when you have a system of levers and frames in place. So, make sure you have leverage over your opponent, make sure you're framing and using your legs for strength. Um, yeah, because if your opponent is able to use all their weight against you, then you're pretty much done. Which is probably why they have divisions in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, because it'd be unfair to go against somebody much larger than you. But which shocked me a bit, because I was told that Brazilian Jiu Jitsu was a martial art where a smaller opponent can submit a larger one. So, but size does matter. Your size advantage does matter. So, but moving on to the second factor, which is technique versus strength. The second strategy is technique versus strength, and the opportunity afforded to you when you go up against somebody that's bigger than you is that it forces you to be more technically sound. So the article says, arguably the most important factor when dealing with a bigger, stronger grappler is technique. BJJ is historically built on the notion that smaller people can defeat bigger ones. To that effect, leverage is the basic principle behind the sport. Staying technical when you're at a weight disadvantage means you can flip the odds without struggling. BJJ techniques require an insane amount of details, but once you get it right, there's no stopping them. Go with strength against strength and you'll surely lose. So this takes a very long time to develop your technique. Jiu-Jitsu is a slow journey, as Jocko would say, and it takes a long time to develop your technique, to first learn the technique and then polish it, master the fundamentals, then polish it. So I would say be patient with yourself. Now the next strategy is grip fighting, and the article says grips are the best way of controlling your opponent. You're never going to control a bigger opponent without strategic grip knowledge. Grappling with the gi helps immensely. The gi provides multiple anchor points that can really hold an opponent in place. Grips at the end of the pants or behind the triceps are perfect for controlling strong grapplers. Playing with the lapel can also help you keep a large opponent at distance. Yeah, grips, I don't have much to say about this, but grips are important. Practice strengthening your hands, making strong grips, proper grip technique, and according to the article, apparently this is going to help you against larger opponents. Now, the next strategy is attaining dominant positions. In terms of positions, certain ones are out of the question against bigger opponents in BJJ, such as position as bottom side control. No matter how good you are at escaping, once your opponent pins you, it's over. Furthermore, some of the most dominant positions like mount can be very hard to maintain. In most cases, your opponent is going to be able to just bench press you off. With that in mind, apart from a few effective guard strategies, two major positions stand out for giant killing. One is back, which brings many points and is easy to control, although submissions might come harder. The other is ashigarami, especially closed circuits where submissions are plentiful, but there are no points. Well, I'm not really sure what the article is referencing here at the end. That maybe some of you know what they're talking about, but yes, when the opponent has you in side control and they're much bigger than you and they're able to pin you down, it literally feels like, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, it's crazy. Like, even if you're good at escaping, it's going to still take an enormous amount of energy to get out of that position. Okay, and next strategy is guard strategy. And once your opponent, let's see here. Okay, so here it's talking about keeping your distance from your opponent, especially when they're larger than you. And according to the article, they say that the best guards you can use against a larger opponent is the spider guard, the De La Riva guard, or any other lapel guard. Personally, I still have to learn how to do these techniques, but I did ask my instructor about how to go up against bigger opponents, and he did mention these specific guards. So there's probably something to it. Like, this article is probably very accurate and saying that learn the spider guard, learn the De La Riva guard, and you might see yourself improving against bigger opponents. And then it says another good guard strategy is going for guards that place you directly underneath your opponent's base. And it's saying there are certain half guard variations, the X guard and the butterfly guard. All right. We don't have much time left, so I'm just going to quickly go through the last 2 points. So then this article says the 6th strategy is smart passing techniques. So attempting pressure passes is the best way to end up on the ground against a bigger opponent in BJJ. And as effective as pressure passes are, they have their limitations. When you're up against someone bigger, look to employ the first strategy, stay dynamic and keep moving. Passing a stronger grappler's guard can be difficult unless you make them shift their weight by themselves. The leg drag is a perfect example. You isolate one leg and focus on making your opponent shift to the side. Once you have them, you can get into a position and easily take their back. So yeah, the theme of this article is a great position to get on your opponent, especially when they're bigger than you, is to get their back. And you get their back by moving and staying dynamic. When you move and stay dynamic, and you pass your guard, using this mindset, and you're able to take their back, you'll be in a very good position. So they warn against using pressure passes. So because according to the article, they have their limitations against people who are bigger. Now, anybody who can relate to that, feel free to leave a comment. Have you ever faced difficulty when trying to pass somebody who's just way bigger than you are, and it's hard to keep pressure on them and pass using your pressure? So yeah, you just got to stay dynamic. You got to keep moving, and let your opponent move their own weight by themselves, and then use that to your advantage. And then finally, the last strategy is from the feet. When standing against a larger foe, you won't get better advice than to pull guard. Yes, you know takedowns. Yes, you wrestled in high school. When your opponent is twice your size and he also knows grappling, it's not smart to shoot for a double. A 200+ pound opponent sprawled on top of you is not fun. Pulling guard is the safest and smartest strategy once down. Go for any guard strategies as we discussed before. Yeah, so those are the main strategies according to this article by BJJ World. 7 strategies to defeat a bigger opponent in BJJ. Again, I'm only a white belt, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Question what I'm saying, do your own research. But I thought this was an important topic to touch upon because I just found it just so frustrating. There's just this one guy I go up against in training almost every day, and it's just so frustrating because it feels like all the techniques I've learned have gone out the window when he gets on top of me and is able to pin me. And then I feel completely helpless and useless, and I ask myself like, why have I been, have has all the time I've invested been a waste of time? So I think learning how to go up against people bigger than you, stronger than you, is very important, and it helps you, and it gives you an opportunity to really master your techniques. Make sure they're on point, your timing's on point, you know how to create leverage, and yeah. So look look at it as an opportunity. For me, I know it can be very like frustrating, but I think the right mindset to have is to look at it as an opportunity to improve your jiu-jitsu game. um there was also a great YouTube channel. I'm gonna try to pull it up. uh let's see here. Yeah, there was a great video I saw recently about the philosophy of going up against people that are bigger than you. Uh, let's see if I can find it. Okay, the name of the YouTube channel is Chris Matakas. Matakas is spelled Matakas, and the title of the video is "How to Roll with Bigger, Stronger BJJ Opponents: Tips plus Philosophy." I thought that this was a very helpful video for me, and if you guys should also check it out if you guys can relate to what I'm talking about when you have to go up against people bigger than you. So yeah, again, I'm only a white belt, so you can disregard what I'm saying if you want to. You can leave your disagreements in the comments and let me know your opinion and your advice when it comes to rolling with somebody bigger and stronger than you. And yeah, and I appreciate you listening to my video, and my videos are going to continue improving in quality. I'm trying my best to educate myself, and through the process of educating myself, I hope to educate other people as well. I hope my jiu-jitsu journey is a long, fulfilling journey that ultimately results in me earning my black belt. And I think this podcast is important in terms of my jiu-jitsu journey. It allows me to read about jiu-jitsu in a fun way and be creative with my jiu-jitsu journey. So if you liked the video, if you found something useful, please consider giving this video a like. Please consider leaving a comment, and if you would like, you can subscribe to my channel as well. And if you have any suggestions for future topics, please leave it in the comments below. Thank you very much for your time, and stay safe while training, and train hard and train every day. Thank you guys for listening, and have a great day.